Stepping on the clutch, life in the fast lane. Money ain't nothing if it can't come the fast way. Chronic. Roaches in my ashtray. That presidential shit. Welcome to my campaign. Same lifestyle, ain't a damn thing changed. To my campaign, welcome to my campaign. Same old lifestyle, ain't a thing changed.
Welcome to Second City Sports Chat. I'm your host, Ryan Ebner, alongside Joe Catrano, Dan the Freakster Frigo, and welcome back, Pete Argus. Welcome back, sir. What up? Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. We got a lot to talk about. The NFL's regular season wrapped up this week. We had a couple of games where big division winners were decided. We had the NFC North showdown and the NFC East showdown. We'll start off with the North, since we got Bears and Packers fans here. Crazy ending to the game, by the way it came down there. Rodgers hitting Cobb wide open after Conte blew some coverage. What a shock. Packers pulled that one on top, though, to win the division. Now they host San Francisco. Is it Saturday, Pete?
It is actually Sunday.
Sunday. 3:30?
Yes.
All right, guys. Pete, I'll start with you. What do you take from the game?
I feel like it's kind of like what everybody thought it would be, the game, in terms of two struggling defenses and explosive offenses. And it just so happened that the play of the game happened to be a blown coverage by one of the defenders.
Dan?
I wanted to say the defense, too. The defense both were struggling all year. It's half bad defenses. They just cannot just run all over the defense and passing. And that came too well. It really pissed me off with the Boykin thing. Just like especially what Chesman said, pick up the ball. You always taught to pick up the ball.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's not so much of a defensive thing. That's just a football IQ thing.
Right.
Especially on the defense. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying but pick up the ball. I mean, you just give him a free touchdown, which actually.
I mean, I saw the ball bounce right past the defender, and Boykins was right there to grab it.
Yeah.
But then at least go near him and wrap it up. Just don't give up on the play. You always gotta listen for the whistle.
I think they're just so used to if the ball hits the floor, they're just so used to it's a dead play.
Right.
Right. But they should go in the mentality of if the whistle doesn't blow, play's not over.
Right. You play till the whistle blows.
But Cutler played good. I mean, he definitely played for the money wherever he needed. So he wants that contract. He played for it. So. Matt Forte had an awesome game, and they both played well-rounded. Rodgers was good. Obviously, Jordy Nelson, crazy game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was close. I was glad it was close because usually what happens is Packers end up blowing out the Bears. But it was a very good division matchup this year.
Joey, that was very good. The longest rivalry. I mean, it was a really good game, but that one fumble pass type deal, that was the game changer. I think.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when the momentum changed, and the Bears were like, well, that's some BS, and they felt like the refs were on their side.
Refs on their side, yeah.
Yeah.
The Packers had some BS. They were forcing one, kind of get past it, and they're like making sure they get the chains on.
I think we all can agree that the officials really didn't have their A-plus game on Sunday.
No.
But, I mean,
I think both teams, the officiating was rough on both sides. But I agree with you, Dan. I think Cutler played a great game. I think that's if you're for the Bears side of the story, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this is now do you feel more comfortable with signing Cutler? And we'll get to that later on with him. But I think he played a really good game. He didn't lose this game. I mean, even that last drive, Marshall's dropped a ball right at his chest, and he dropped it, and that would have set up a really not a Hail Mary situation. He could have done a lot of different things then.
Also with Alshon Jeffrey, how you got that?
Yes.
All the passes you catch,
and he drops it there. Yeah.
I mean. Like, you can't blame Cutler for that. I mean, because he throws it to his two big guys, and on the final drive, they drop sure-handed catches. I mean, and they both have great hands, so it's like, you can't really blame Cutler for that, because they catch those two balls. Maybe we're talking something different about this.
The guy, I don't know who was covering. I don't know who was covering. I don't remember, but I think he was jumping the ball and fell, too, so if Alshon caught it.
Oh, Shields,
Shields, okay. So if that was a touchdown right there.
Right, I mean, I don't think Cutler played a bad game. I think he made all the throws he had to make today or yesterday. I thought that was a really good game by him. And I thought, as an offense as a whole, it was a good game. It took until Week 17 to really figure out what you're supposed to do. But this Bears team is built to run the football, do the screens, do short things, and then hit your big men downfield because that's what that offense is built for. And all year we have been asking for it, and it finally came in Week 17. Right, I felt like if you would have been doing this the whole time, we wouldn't be in this position for this game. I think the Bears would have had the division a while back. With McCown, they did it. And it's just like when Cutler was in, they didn't want to do it. And I think that whatever clicked that decided for Cutler to decide that we need to run the ball more and listen to it, it was good because I think if this offense can play like that next year, the line keeps getting better, this offense is going to be really good again.
Yep.
But with more improvements. But yes, the Packers did win. They will host San Francisco. But that was a good game. But overall, you guys said longest rivalry, and it was really lived up to it. I thought that was a really good
Yeah,
game.
it was a good game. Nice and close, too.
Right.
That's a way to go.
No blowouts. And then we had another surprising close one with the NFC East. Kyle Orton almost pulled it off. What they lose? 24. Yeah, former Bear. 24-22. Eagles won that game. A lot of people thought it was going to be a blowout once Romo was out. But Dan, looking at that game, what'd you take from that?
Even though Tony Romo was out, I was not scared that Kyle Orton couldn't get the job done. Because when I don't know if this was the actual year of when the Bears won the Super Bowl, but I know Kyle Orton was in and he actually won us some games while Rex Russell was out, and he did actually pretty well because Colin has been playing pretty well, and he plays good as a backup. And even though that last pass was obviously his fault, he had fewer interceptions. That wasn't his fault. It went behind him. It fell. But overall, Orton played good. They both played overall a good game. But it's just, I think what screwed him over was Kyle Orton missing Miles Austin behind him and Brandon Boykin for the interception. I think that was the reason I really screwed up because they both played decent throughout the game. Stopping Nick Foles at the 1 yard line, 4th and goal. I mean, that's very hard to do, and they were actually able to do it.
Yeah, that defense, which isn't usually good, really did make a lot of surprising stops because that offense that we saw tear up the Bears was not able to do the same thing against the Cowboys, which was shocking.
But it was actually a good game. I was actually glad to see it because even the Bears killed them, and it was just good to see that division matchup and close game again, just like with the Bears and Packers. It was a good division matchup overall, but the Eagles came out and won.
I agree. Joey?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I only watched the Bears and Packers game.
Right.
So I don't have too much of an input on it. But, yeah, with that said, I'm going to concur with it.
I agree.
When I look at that game, I feel like that was a big-time statement game for Dallas because they saw with Romo, they knew when he had the back injury, pretty much the whole week, they knew that Romo wasn't going to play. And I think Dallas took it upon themselves that they weren't going to be the team that was like, oh, we're up without Tony and we're just going to lay down and stuff like that when they easily could have. And I think that defense really showed up because that's an explosive Philly offense, as we all saw last week against the Bears. I mean, that tore them up. And I think they played pretty well. And if not for that Orton interception at the end, which honestly really isn't totally his fault because, the guy hasn't played at all. And it was a time and pattern. And it was just a little behind him.
He played 3 games.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. That says a lot about Dallas. And I think that's why I think Jerry Jones is kind of happy with the Dallas team because, you get a field goal there and they actually win that game. Mm-hmm. So, it was pretty surprising to see how well they played and how much Philly's offense kind of struggled in a way.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's just, the Dallas' defense really made a big statement last night where they weren't just going to let that Eagles defense or Eagles offense torch them like they torched the Bears. They've torched other offense or defenses this year. I think that was a big statement for them. Obviously, Jason Garrett probably going to stay, whether it's because of Romo's injury, whether it's not, we don't know. But that's what it looks like. They did fire their defense coordinator, but the Eagles now that Chip Kelly's first year in the NFL gets to go to the playoffs, see what he can do in the playoffs. They start against New Orleans at home, so New Orleans we know struggles on the road, so we'll see what happens there. Then we had a really crazy finish to the AFC wildcard game. Pittsburgh needed a lot to happen to get in.
Almost called it.
Almost happened. Yes, Pete. Last week you said that Pittsburgh would get in. Me and Josh kind of laughed. But you're pretty close.
Are you guys still laughing?
I'm not laughing.
Oh,
I don't know about him.
Okay.
I'm not laughing though.
Well, actually, I saw last night on what was it? I think NFL Network. They actually showed and analyzed the kick. There were 7 guys on one side, the right side.
Yeah, there's 6, right?
Yeah, there's only allowed 6, so they should have had a re-kick. So I bet you people in Pittsburgh, they're already angry as it is. I bet you they are really pissed. Really pissed about this now because they should have had a re-kick, and I guarantee that Suck-Up makes that kick.
If Pittsburgh gets in, does it change a lot then for Denver?
I think it does because I don't know if San Diego would be a tough matchup if they can get past Cincinnati for them because they already have beaten Denver.
They beat them twice, though.
But I don't know if they can beat them twice, especially since they already beat them at Denver. And Denver's definitely not going to take them lightly this time.
Dan?
I said,
Oh, what do you think about the AFC craziness at the end? San Diego got in.
Am I starting at the craziness? Or
Yeah, we'll start with the craziness. My bad.
I mean, KC had backups in LC because, they didn't really have anything to play for. And, I think that even though San Diego played it very well against them, Phil Rivers actually had a very good year this year. He usually doesn't even do that well, but he's done awesome this year. Personally, to me, I think he's done awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we saw that last night, you pointed out 7 on one side. I can't believe they didn't point it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would easily, if every kick that's a practice kick right there, he
Right.
would easily gotten the other one. And like you said, Broncos, they beat him once, but it was by a touchdown. I think it was like 27-20. It was a close game. Like you said, I think that Denver's not going to let them get it this easily this time if they get that far.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Pittsburgh gets in, Denver's got a lot more to worry about because I think Pittsburgh easy beats Cincinnati. And then I think Denver, we've seen it. Peyton Manning is really bad in the playoffs. He's like Eli in the regular season. It's just not, it's not good.
And this is also kind of like a San Diego team that's kind of scary because, if you look back to the Packers a couple of years ago when they were a 6th spot, they played the Bears, and the Bears had nothing to play for because they were already in the playoffs. Just the same exact scenario for Kansas City, and they still were able to squeak out a win. And that's a scary team because Cincinnati just had their struggles in the playoffs, so they win that game. Anything can happen against Denver.
Yeah, exactly. I even think, because if we know now if Cincinnati wins, Cincinnati moves on to play the Patriots. I think that's just a dead game for them. I don't think they're going to beat Tom Brady in New England. But if there's any team in the AFC as of right now, do you think that's going to take out Denver? Best chance.
I would say it would have to be New England.
I agree.
Just because of the Brady factor, they would have.
And they've already beaten them
Yeah.
in Foxborough. I think they can beat them in Denver.
Yeah, Brady's not scared to go on the road.
No,
I think because one of the main thing for me is that he just come back in the fourth quarter. Tom Brady is known for coming back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And knowing that defense worse in the NFL for pass for Broncos, he can easily tear them up.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it's a very different factor. I think Tom Brady is really clutch in the playoffs. Peyton, we know that historically he just chokes.
Yes.
So we will see where that goes. But before we get to our predictions, we'll start with the coaches here. Shanahan in Washington, out. Schwartz in Detroit, out. Greg Schiano in Tampa, out.
You're awfully happy about that.
I'm really happy.
Oh, okay.
We already know Gary Kubiak was gone.
Yes.
Leslie Frazier for the Vikings is out. And then more of a shocking one, Rod Shazinski, after only 1 year in Cleveland, fired. How's Cleveland taking it?
I don't know, really what they were doing here because, what do you expect out of a guy that really has no talent on the offensive side except for Josh Gordon? The defense is solid, but, they had a decent quarterback in Hoyer, and he goes down after 2 games with a torn ACL. What are you really expecting out of that offense?
You don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, and you got rid of your running back.
Right.
Yeah.
Trent really wasn't doing well in Indy right now, but that's the whole offense.
Yeah, I think that's more of a shock just because, like you said, he's only got 1 year to go, and he didn't have anything going on with that team besides Josh Gordon, and who was gone for 4 games?
Yeah, and then look at, who knows how well Chudzinski actually coached Gordon? This is Gordon's first year.
Right.
Maybe that was good coaching that really propelled him this year.
Yeah. Any other team that you're shocked about?
Really, I was kind of shocked that Detroit wasn't really going to fire because it looked like reports yesterday saying Schwartz wasn't going to go, but I think it's the right decision for him to go because of how disappointing it was for them. But all the other firings are really not questioning him too much at all.
Yeah, I just think that the Browns, they said only 1 year.
Yeah.
And you look, all the other teams, Mike Shanahan, Luke Frazier, they have 4 or 5 seasons, and they did great. 1 winning season, not even a decent winning season, all of them losing season. He needs another chance, as they said, to build the team up. Just firing after 1 year, that didn't do anything. It's like giving a president 1 year to fix every financial problem.
All right, go ahead, Jay. All right, so what's up with all the coaches being kicked out all of a sudden? Why this year for this season?
Well, it depends on each one. I think with Schwartz for Detroit, thank you. Schwartz in Detroit, this is the 1 year.
You the answers, by the way. That's why I said thank you.
Yeah, you had to give me my cheat sheet. For Detroit, this is the 1 year. If there was any other year that they were going to win this division, this was the year. Rodgers down, Cutler down, Minnesota just down. So for them with all that talent in the world to
And
not,
for them to be healthy too.
yeah, and they were healthy the whole way. Yeah, Stafford stayed healthy the whole year. Calvin Johnson was basically healthy the whole year. The defense was sound, and for them to not get in is just unbelievable. So I think that's a big reason for Schwartz being fired.
So if they don't get in, they just do it on the coach. It's kind of like with Lovey, kind of.
Basically,
Players just kind of going downhill. And
yeah, I think it is on the coach though. I think Schwartz didn't coach it up to what he's supposed to be, and he's a Jag anyway.
If you don't mind me chiming in, like he came in after his 0-16 season, and they're hoping obviously the coach's gonna rebuild the team and make it better. He didn't do what they wanted him to do.
But they're
so I keep
inconsistent.
him. So I
Yeah.
keep him.
Yeah.
And I think with Washington, I think it goes way beyond how their performance was on the field. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, and then going back to the Detroit part, another reason is because people see all the talent that Detroit has, and for them to have a 7-9 season is honestly disappointing.
What they do in the division? 5-1,
They were
4-2,
4-2 in the division.
and they stood out.
Yeah.
What were the Bills? Bills were what?
Bills were
3, but they had a
really
chance to
good
be
as well.
4-2.
Yeah.
But Detroit, all that talent in the world, you can't do it.
Yeah.
I think it's just time for Schwartz to go. But then, like I said, Washington's it goes way beyond just play on the field. The whole RG3 thing and what's going on with that. And you could obviously tell it took until about probably towards the end of the year when he actually, I think, started feeling like himself a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think with RG3 and Mike Shanahan situation, the Shanahan situation, his kid and him, I just think that there's not a lot. They're not on the same page. And obviously the Redskins aren't going to get rid of RG3 because you traded a lot to get him, and you got to take it on somebody. And I think it is Shanahan. I think he's overrated as a coach.
Yes, I believe so as well.
I
Because, I mean, you look at the 2 Super Bowls that he got, I mean, they were both railway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, and he hasn't really done much since. I mean, the one big playoff run he had was with Jake Plummer a couple of years ago when they got to the AFC Championship and lost to Pittsburgh. That's really all he's done in the playoffs besides.
Right. I mean, turning this last year, turning the Redskins into a playoff team was great, but it really retracted really fast this year.
Yeah.
So I just don't think they get along. I don't think the front office gets along with Shanahan. I don't think RG3 does, and I think that's just part of why he's gone. The Houston, I mean, it's really just because Gary Kubiak's been here the whole time, and you have all this opportunity to do something like last year, winning the division last year. People thought we were going to make some noise this year in the playoffs. Well, we did. And
Made us look like fools.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So good to get fired. No, I don't know. I mean, I just think that was just a disappointing season.
Kind of like the Schwartz thing. There's a lot of talent, and
Right.
you wind up with the worst record in the NFL.
Right. That's awful.
so all the coaches that are going are all head coaches?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. The ones that we're talking about. I mean, there are some
Maybe
coordinators
maybe some little other people too within the team, like maybe assistant coaches
or like coordinators and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I think Cleveland's was the most shocking because I didn't expect a coach to get fired for 1 year. Not there.
No.
So coaches don't have contracts then?
They do, but they can, I think who got released from their contract early? Shanahan did. He had 1 year
Shanahan.
left.
Yeah, they all have contracts. It's just they can buy out the contract. Is what they do. Pretty much, they pay them money so they're not in the facility.
So the team owner does that?
Yes, or the GM,
Okay.
whoever wants to do it, they do it. I think out of all this, let's do this. With all the decisions, which one out of all the coaching right now that are open, which one do you think's the most luxurious? I guess you would say to get hired to.
I would probably say, I mean, immediately you would have to say Detroit because they're the most playoff ready. But I think long term, I think it honestly could be Cleveland because you do have a stable defense there. If you can have an offensive guy that can maybe develop a quarterback there, they have a chance because really that division's not really that great.
Mhm.
There's a lot of teams that are rebuilding in that division. So I guess it's between Cleveland and Detroit, but if a coach wants to win probably immediately, it'd probably be Detroit right now.
Yeah, immediately, like I said, I was actually going to go with Detroit also, just basically what you said. The long term, I personally don't really want to say anything yet, because to me, I don't really know. I don't want to pick a team,
Okay,
and I don't want to be an idiot, okay?
it's okay. We picked Houston to win the division.
Yeah,
so we're not really down
they got the
about
number 1 pick right now. They're on the clock. So
it. I think short term right now, I think it's Houston or Detroit. I think it's either one because I think obviously Houston's got a really good defense still. They got offensive pieces. Arian stays healthy. It's just the quarterback situation. But I think either one of those two teams are really ready for playoffs. You just need the right guy to push
and
them.
again, Houston's in not a great division as well.
No, and they got the first pick now.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, it's kind of like the Colts. When the Colts were bad, And just because Peyton got hurt, I
They
think that
got
was a
Luck.
blessing for them.
Yeah, they
I
got
think
Luck
this is a
and now
blessing
they're
for Houston.
in the playoffs back-to-back years.
Right. Whatever they decide to do with it, whether they go for a quarterback, if Teddy's there, Teddy's there. If he's not, maybe they go somewhere else with it. I don't know. But and I think long term, I mean, I'm going to say this kind of a homer, but I'm going to say Tampa, just because I think that Schiano failed with the talent that's on that team. That defensive talent, it'd be Revis, Levante David, McCoy, Goldson, and Barron. I think you have a lot of sound guys on that defense. That team should not have struggled like they did. And I know that they have to compete really hard because now you have all of those teams in that division. Atlanta's not going to have a bad year again.
Yeah, that's a brutal division.
That's a
they're in.
really tough division for them. But I think long term, you get a guy in there that can really push the buttons the right way. Like I thought Raheem Morris did. I thought Raheem Morris did a good job when he was there. Schiano didn't, whether it was he lost the faith of the locker room. Obviously Freeman didn't, step up like he's supposed to again. But I think this is a team that now you got the 7th pick in the draft. You either get a receiver, go after defense, whatever you want to do, maybe even a quarterback. But I think Mike Glennon is the right guy. The proper coach can mold him. Just like
So
I think in
you
Houston.
would like Mike Lennon then?
I will keep Mike Glennon for the future, I think, because I don't think you should need to burn a first-round pick on a quarterback this year.
What if you can get a guy that could
Like
develop?
A.J. McCarron?
Yeah, like McCarron.
I would take it. I think they're more talented than Mike Glennon, but I wouldn't be mad if we were stuck with Mike Glennon.
So if you were Tampa, would you want to get an offensive guy that's a quarterback kind of guy?
Yes, like a Trustman type of guy?
Yeah, so you
Yes.
would want an offensive guy then.
Yes, I think so. I think you have to really. He's in a really fragile part of where his career is going to go. You got to have somebody that's going to mold him the right way. I think that was Cutler's problem. He didn't get molded the right way. But I don't know.
Going back to Shanahan, but yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you
Shanahan. It all kicks up. But I think Tampa's the long-term deal.
Tampa gets you hard, we know.
Tampa gets me hard.
Yeah, Tampa gets you hard, we know. You know you like talking about expressing your feelings.
I do.
Tampa.
I just think Tampa's a good job. I don't think.
I can see it too. I mean,
They were a playoff team a couple years ago.
They have a lot of good young defensive players.
Yeah, I think they got the right guys on offense with Doug Martin.
Was
And
there
yeah.
still number one quarterback?
I would say Sherman is now.
Sherman?
Yeah,
I would say Darrell Reeves
I
still
think
top 3.
I take 'Cause Sherman, what he has over Revis is he has height.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
He's from Compton, so it's serious.
Coming straight out of
yeah,
Compton.
yeah, he'll tell you he's from Compton with the swagger he has.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
he'll tell you.
But that's what the coaches. Now, before we get into our prediction, let's go with the question that me, you, and Josh battled last week. Cutler. Do you keep him? Do you not? After now you saw this performance, we said we would base it off of this week and say, now they lost, but do you keep him?
I think you do keep Cutler. Now, for how long, I have no idea. I don't really go long term with him, but I maybe go 3 or 4 years with him. But I think you do because he showed me a lot in that game, and he also showed me that he doesn't. That was the biggest game, arguably, of his career. And he really didn't have those 3 or 4 throws where you're like, Jay, what are you doing?
Mm-mm.
So, if I were the Bears, I would definitely look to re-sign him, but watch the amount of money you give him because I don't know if he's worth the $18 to $20 million. He's not worth that.
I don't think he's proved it yet. I think the
No,
Ravens made that
exactly.
mistake with Flacco.
That's what I was going to say, too. I didn't want... Because if they keep Jay Cutler, he's probably want a big contract. And that's what they don't need so you can get other players. Because he's not the only person that's going to make the team.
Mm-mm.
We need other players.
And that should be the argument that the GM says.
Yeah.
That we need other pieces
That
around.
defense is very broken.
Yeah, and I think Jay can agree with that.
Right.
That defense needs some fixing.
Exactly. And the one thing I loved about the game, too, was only interception he threw was the last pass was just a Hail Mary, which...
Right, you can't really count that
No,
against
that's
him.
not really a
that's
pick at
exactly.
all.
That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? You throw any interceptions. Basically, every pass he threw was to them, right on the dime. Like,
Yeah.
perfect. They couldn't get much better.
Right.
And that's what I was really happy with in that game.
I thought he played best game of his career.
Yeah,
Yes,
but the way I look at it, that's one game out of how many that he actually did pretty good at. I look at it as the Bears should, I feel like they should look for a new one because they got a new coach, so it's time to do a new quarterback and just try to start over. Try to get somebody that's fairly cheap and then redo the line, go defensively, and just kind of try to rework the team.
I think
That's their best bet.
right. I mean, I think I look at it. Obviously, I said last week we were going to sign Jay. I'm going to say it this week again. You sign Jay Cutler. I agree with you that's not long term, and I agree with you that's not big money. Because you do need to fix pieces. You finally have an offensive line, at least one side of it, where they're actually.
I don't know. I mean, arguably that offensive line is is really good.
It's sound.
It's amazing what a year does.
Right, and you have 2 rookies on the right side
Yeah.
that still compete like that. You have a running back in Matt Forte. You have 3 giant targets, and Alshon Jeffrey, who emerged this year. Brandon Marshall, we already knew about him, and then Martellus Bennett. That offense is set and ready to go. I think another year with Mark Trestman, Cutler's going to get even better.
No, and I think another thing that people need to think about with the color thing is if how they handle this thing is going to be big time to how they handle when Marshall's comes up.
Mhm.
And all these other big guys, all their contracts come up is going to be big to see how they determine this one. And also, if they get let go of Color, I don't know if Marshall will be too happy about it either. So in a way, you're kind of losing 2 weapons.
And
if
I
you
see
lose
it
him.
too, like, he knew that his contract's coming up, and he played outstanding. To me, that kind of shows I want to stay here. I want to contribute. I want to get better.
Mhm.
I want the team to get better.
And I mean, I've listened to I've listened to a while Sylvie J. Cutler show, and he says it all the time that he wants to be here and stuff like that. I think he really proved it overall for the whole season. I mean, when he wasn't hurt, he didn't play that awful.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as bad as people wanted to put it out, saying that this is Jay Cutler and he's terrible. I don't think that was the case. And when he was hurt, I thought the big thing that stands out to me is that he was not afraid. He was the first one to go grab a headset on, grab a clipboard, sit with Josh and Mark, and go over the notes and study with them, because that's how he's going to get better as quarterback.
Yep.
I said earlier I thought he was treated. I don't think he was handled properly with Shanahan. I don't think he was. I don't think he was molded the right way. And I think another year with Trustman's really going to help him. Because who did he have when he got to Chicago as a quarterback? The guy to really help him.
I mean, the number 1 guy was Johnny Knox, really.
You know.
And Johnny Knox is.
But I mean, like, coach-wise. Who was really there to coach him?
Nobody was there to coach him. And I think in Denver, like you were saying, they kind of just let Jay do whatever he wanted with his arm.
Right. And he's not Elway.
No.
So you can't do something like that. I saw a tweet yesterday about that Cutler made just as many bad throws as Rodgers, and I think that's arguable at the same point, because I don't think Jay really made any bad throws, for the most part, what we saw.
I mean,
That last play,
yeah.
what else you got to do?
I mean, Rodgers is the one that really had 2 interceptions in that game.
Right.
I mean, the one, he misread the coverage in the end zone. It was more of a great play by Conte, which is
shocking
to most
He read
Bears
the
fans.
QB. That was good.
Yeah, he read his eyes. And the second one, Rodgers just threw it behind Nelson on that one. And it was just a little high. So that was another old...
And that's just rust.
Yeah, I mean...
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think Cutler lost this game. I think Cutler earned himself a contract. We'll see what happens. I mean, as long as it's not a Joe Flacco thing.
Yes.
The difference between it was with Cutler hasn't won any playoff games. Or won one.
He's won
one.
Yeah.
Flacco, he went on this huge Super Bowl run, which meant, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him because that was an outstanding Super Bowl. At one point, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Yeah,
That's outstanding.
in those years before, he won all those playoff games, but, I mean, as a starting quarterback, but he was throwing for like 150, 160 yards.
It was the defense that was winning and running.
Yeah, it was the defense of Ray Rice winning us.
So looking at that, I think that goes into negotiation with Emery and Cutler that, listen, you haven't really won big games, so I don't think he's qualified for that 18 to 20 million a year status. I would say between 14 to 16.
Yeah.
That's fine. I understand that. I think that's where he should be until he shows more. And like you guys all said, short term. But overall, I think Cutler stays. But we will move to our wild card predictions this week. We start off on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. It's Kansas City versus Colts. That's a rematch.
Yes.
Who do you got?
In that game, well, the Colts a couple weeks ago pretty much spanked Kansas City at Kansas City. This is one of the big toss-up games I have for the week because I don't know which Colts team is going to show up week in and week out. You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that Kansas City, the way they've kind of struggled down the stretch and they rested players, which I never like, I like Indy in this game.
Okay.
I was thinking about Indy too, because this is just something I see, but I mean it's not like legitimate, but that they play they play good against the good teams, and bad against the bad teams, and I think luck. I mean, hopefully against this, like you said, they beat KC. They beat KC at home. Not their place, but
at Kansas City. Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that can just happen. I guess it can be a fluke, but I mean, Andrew Luck is a very talented quarterback, and I feel like that they can pull this one and win. Especially that, like I said, they do good against good teams for some reason. I think it just pumps them up.
Yeah.
That's how
I mean, Colts got some big wins at home this
and
year.
their defense too.
Against,
their defense is getting good too.
Yeah, I mean, they've beaten Denver, they've beaten all these good teams at home. So, they're a whole different team at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Colts too. They won their past 3 games, is it?
Yeah.
And Kansas City's lost 2. So
I mean, they've lost they've been 2-5 in their last 7 or
in the
something like
beginning,
that.
Kansas City, of course. I mean, they were amazing. They haven't lost, but now I think they were just beginning.
Yeah, and they're struggling at the worst time possible.
Yeah, so now I think the pressure's starting to set in where they're like, oh, we're actually going somewhere. So now they're like, I don't think we can continue.
And the difference is, you got a team in Indy that was in the playoffs last year. They know how it is. Kansas City, they're not really used to it.
That's
When was the last time they won a playoff game? It's
been a while. It's been a while for Kansas City.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is I look at it as it's Alex Smith versus Andrew Luck. Luck's been there. Alex Smith has been in the playoffs, but not the same. And I can't trust Alex Smith at all. So I'm gonna have to go with Indy as well. I just think that, like you guys said, they've been on a hot streak. They play really well against really good teams. They've beaten some big name teams. So I think Luck, experience, and all that, they'll win this game.
Yeah.
And then we got the night game, New Orleans at Philly.
This might be the funnest game. Like, the most fun to watch this game, because this will be high scoring.
Yes.
Because
game, we'll start with you.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I actually am very excited for this game.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans, Drew Brees, scoring high, like you said. Nick Foles, I mean, he last year did terrible playing for Michael Vick. And this year, I don't know what happened. He's just like, I'm comfortable now, so let me throw 7 touchdowns, kind of Peyton Manning. I'm awesome. I'm Nick Foles.
shout out to the Raiders for allowing it.
Exactly right. Charles Woodson, man. What happened?
Hey, you know what? Okay, you know what? They're getting at me because Woodson's my guy. Whatever. Okay, you know what? Okay, this is why I can. He didn't allow all 7. Okay, maybe about 4 or 5, but it wasn't all 7.
Maybe 4 or 5, but maybe over a third of them.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
yeah. But I think personally, I think New Orleans will take this one because the defense of Eagles are kind of, to me, struggle. Their safeties aren't too good. Their back, defensive back, I should say. Yeah, defensive back.
Yeah.
They're not that good. And like New Orleans, I mean, Drew Brees has good receivers, especially tight end Jimmy Graham. I like Marquise Colston. They're all good receivers. And the Eagles always are struggling for the defense. And if Nick Foles can't keep up with the points with Drew Brees, even though I think he could, because Deshaun Jackson, they have a good team also, but I just feel like New Orleans takes one because the defense of Eagles are not that good.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Saints because, I mean, the past couple of seasons, they've been pretty consistent with going almost all the way, and feel like it doesn't really change too much, so I think they could beat the Eagles, because Drew Brees is a really good quarterback.
Yes.
You're
torn, aren't you?
This is another, but I'm gonna go with New Orleans, and I think this is more of a legacy game than anything else for Drew Brees in terms of he has not won. I don't know what his record is, but it's not good at all in cold weather games.
It's like Peyton.
Yeah, he's got the same exact stereotype that he can't win on the road, and I think that he's gonna prove it in Philly on the big stage Saturday night. And I think he is gonna prove it, and I don't know how Foles is gonna perform. You never know. It's his first playoff game.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly's first time as a coach.
I mean, Sean Payton has done this before, and I think he has a lot to say too in terms of, like, can I win on the road? This is a big game for them, and I think New Orleans will really show them.
I agree. I think this is a show me game.
Yes.
This is a show me game for everybody in the NFL watching because New Orleans has struggled, like you guys said, on the road the entire year. Drew Brees struggles in cold weather. This is a show me game. I'm going to go with New Orleans as well. I mean, there's my Super Bowl pick, so got to go with them anyway. So I got to roll with them, but I think they're going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be close. I just don't think. I think Foles is going to crumble. I think that's the biggest story.
I think in terms of Foles crumbling,
Right.
But
we saw it last night.
yeah, I mean, if Philly's smart, what they do is they just hand the ball to
Shady.
all day.
Yeah.
I mean, and just get it out to your explosive guys like Deshaun Jackson and Riley Cooper. Just get it out to them and take the pressure off Foles.
Right.
That no-huddle offense, they don't get to give as much time to really think what they're going to do.
And in the cold weather, can they maintain it?
Yeah.
Can their players maintain it?
True.
Yes.
So I think, it's going to be a really fun game. I think New Orleans takes this one. We go to Sunday. Start off with Cincinnati at home. Take it on I'm drawing points.
San Diego Superchargers.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
San Diego.
Who you got?
I really want to pick San Diego. I feel like they're really hot right now, but I feel like this is the year for Cincinnati. I feel like this is the year they're finally going to win the game. I got Cincinnati in this one. I feel like I don't trust Andy Dalton, but I trust his defense a lot more than I trust San Diego. And San Diego should have easily lost to Kansas City's backups. So I'm going to pick Cincinnati in this game.
And last year, I was really excited to see Cincinnati go to the playoffs. You know, because I don't know when's the last time they won before prior to that, but I don't think it was recent.
It was whenever Palmer got in, probably, right?
Yeah.
When he blew his knee.
Well, what, to win?
No, to get to the playoffs.
Oh, to get to the playoffs. Well, what, last year they got in? And
Well, that's what I was saying. Last
Yeah.
year, before that,
It was, what,
Yeah.
a few years ago?
yeah, I mean,
yeah, and I was excited to see it because I really wanted to see them try to get to the Super Bowl. I really like that team. And this year, I think they even improved more from last year. And San Diego, like you said, they're hot, but they easily lost to KC. And the defense of Cincinnati is strong. And I don't, like I said, Andy Dalton isn't that great, but he's got AJ Green. I mean, AJ Green catches everything to me. So
Yep.
I mean, that's like his
It's Brandon Marshall.
basically his last.
I don't know what's
resort.
going to cover
His
in
last
San
resort.
Diego.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, he's so tall and fast. But yeah, I think Cincinnati will have the best. If Baltimore, 4 interceptions, and Baltimore couldn't even. I mean, 3 times they got 3 field goals. I mean, and that's against Baltimore.
Yeah, with that explosive an offense, they don't have those 4 interceptions. Since he might have scored 40 or 50 points in that game.
Exactly.
Easily.
Yeah, so that's why I think Cincinnati will beat the San Diego Chargers.
You're right, Joey, what do you say?
I think Cincinnati's going to do it too. They're a little bit better, so
Yeah, they are
I
better.
can't really elaborate too much.
I agree, though. They're a better team. San Diego just squeaked by, whether it's because of a missed call, whatnot. We don't know what would have happened. But San Diego got in barely. If this is Pittsburgh, I'm going with Pittsburgh. But it is San Diego, and I don't like Phillip Rivers. I know he played really well this year. That's great. I don't like Phillip Rivers as quarterback. I don't trust him.
Also, Philip Rivers ran for his career rush, 18 yards this year. Awesome.
Oh my god.
I'm really proud of him.
I was so proud. I cried.
I would be, I would be
I cried
proud.
out of blue.
I would be proud because it's not fun to see him run. So
Yeah, no, I'm going Cincinnati. I know we got in there. Andy Dalton's not that good of a quarterback. He has his games where he is and he isn't. I mean, we saw a couple weeks ago he threw 4 touchdowns. He has his games, but I think this is the game that they win. Marvin Lewis needs this win.
Yeah.
I mean,
He has his games.
I think Giovanni
Yes.
Bernard is going to show
yes.
a lot of people in this game. I think he could be a big piece to them.
yes, I agree. And I'm going to go with Cincinnati though to take this one. I just don't think San Diego's there. I don't think
The dirty natty.
Yeah, it's ooh,
Taking the dirty natty.
Dirty natty. I like it. That's a good one. We're going to go with that from now on. Now we got the big game. Now I will say there's another rematch earlier in the year. We all picked Indy to win again because they beat Kansas City earlier in the year.
Yes.
Are you picking San Francisco to beat your Packers?
I am sadly going to pick San Francisco to beat the Packers. I feel like the Packers are going to have to depend too much on Aaron to win the game, and Packers just haven't shown me that they can beat a team like San Francisco. I mean, this is pretty much like a divisional opponent for them because this will be the 4th time they played them. They played them to start the year this year, also last year, and then end of the year last year in the playoffs. So this will be the 4th time in a little over about a year. So I just don't. I mean, San Francisco's got the more complete team. The only difference is if the Packers could run the ball on that defense, they can do something. But I don't know if they could be able to against that front.
Yeah, well, like I said, the last couple games, they've lost to San Francisco, and since then, especially to get in the year, they lost to San Francisco. They haven't really been as a healthy team and be able to come back from all the injuries and all that stuff still. And now they're in the playoffs, and San Francisco, like you said, is still the more developed team, healthier team, and that's why I feel like that Green Bay won't have won't feel like you said dependent much on Rodgers to win the game for them.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go for San Fran, but I am going to stick with the Packers on this one because this time it's in Lambeau Field because last year was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I feel like they got the cold weather advantage. They're used to it. So they're used to the outside, cold elements, windy. So maybe they could use that to their advantage somehow.
And then another thing, like about the cold weather and stuff, a way that the Packers could win is we don't know how Kaepernick's going to play because all the playoff games he's played in, the game was in San Francisco, which is obviously not cold weather, and then the other 2 games were in domes. So we don't know. And we saw
played in cold weather.
Yeah, I mean, in the game that he did play last year against Seattle, he struggled mightily. So the key to the game is how Kaepernick plays, because if Kaepernick struggles, you know that probably Aaron won't struggle, because it's Aaron Rodgers. So if he doesn't play well, this game could easily swing.
Yeah, so that's why I'm giving it to the Packers in that sense. The cold weather is going to be on their side for that.
Yeah, I think about Mother Nature. I think that plays a big element into this game and what's going to happen with Kaepernick. We don't see him play in really bad, poor condition games very much. Early in the year, he played in Seattle in the rain, and he was bad. I'm going to go with the Packers. I think that another week to torture Pete a little bit more. Get his heart taken a little bit, like, oh, there's still a chance. But I think Green Bay
mad because they continue and like, oh my God.
You're like, I just want it to be done.
Okay. But going back to the Kaepernick thing, too. And if you look at Kaepernick's road record, it's definitely not as good as his home record. And I think this is the big thing that they have to start out on the road. But if he's able to play well, they could easily make it to the Super Bowl.
Right. So if I look at this, the lowest seed in the NFC we have, New Orleans is a 6th seed.
New Orleans is a 6th, so they would automatically play Seattle.
So do you think, going from here, that if you were to advance the divisional round, it would be in the NFC, it would be Seattle versus New Orleans, and then you would have San Francisco
against Carolina.
You two would.
Yeah.
Who advances?
I do have Seattle winning that game, and then
So
I
you
would have
say Seattle versus
Seattle. This San Francisco, Carolina. Well, if Kaepernick's able to win in Lambeau, I'm pretty sure he's able to win in Carolina. I love Carolina's defense, and I know that they did beat them earlier this year, but I would like San Francisco more in that game because, I mean, this will be Cam's first playoff game. It'll be at home. There's a lot of pressure on Carolina, I think. And I think San Francisco becoming more of a developed team. I think San Francisco wins that game.
Okay, Dan, you'd have the same thing. Seattle versus New Orleans, San Francisco versus Carolina.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were going to say Green Bay. No, I didn't pick Green Bay.
No, I know you picked Green Bay.
Seattle versus, sorry, you can say it again.
Seattle you have versus New Orleans, and then you have San Francisco versus Carolina.
Yeah, I also picked Seattle. Like I said, they're my Super Bowl, so they have to win. But I think their defense is so strong. I think their average yards they give up a game is like 280 something average a game. So that's nothing. That's nothing. So they stop Darren Sproles and they can stop the receivers. And I mean, even though the Seahawks do not score high, but the defense is what carries them, so they don't have to score high. But I think the defense is really going to be the thing that's going to really make them win the game because they can stop Drew Brees. They have to worry about scoring super high.
Mm-hmm. So you have Seattle, and then you have San Francisco taking on Carolina.
Yeah. Like I said, Cam Newton has not played in a playoff game. A lot of pressure, especially at home. There'll be a lot of pressure because he starts making mistakes. The fans will let him know.
But Cam Newton is Superman, though.
Oh yeah, he's ripped that shit
Yeah,
off.
he will tell you he's Superman
Ron
after he gets
Rivera
first down.
I mean, beginning of the year, no one even knew that they were going to do this good. Ron Rivera has brought him here, and I think that
Coach of the Year candidate right there.
And honestly, I want to go with Carolina just because I want to see Carolina succeed and continue in the playoffs and hopefully make it to the Super Bowl. But it's going to be hard because San Francisco is good.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense is good too, and a more developed team. And if Cam isn't doing as well, like we saw at Atlanta, he didn't play as well. The whole team didn't really play as well.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, San Francisco will definitely outscore them because Atlanta definitely. But because Atlanta, I mean, it's not as good of a team. So
right.
If even they play bad, it was okay because I mean, even 1 point, they only allowed 1 point, and Atlanta does not do good.
Right.
They have a bad season this year, awful. And that happens against San Francisco. San Francisco definitely don't score them, but I want to go with Carolina.
You're going to go Carolina. All right, Joey, for us now, we will have New Orleans versus Seattle again, like them. But then you would have Green Bay at Carolina. So who will you go with?
Well, for the first point, I'll go for Seattle.
Okay.
for same reason the defense is pretty damn good.
Yes.
Then is it Carolina and Packers?
Yeah, Carolina.
I don't know. Honestly, I might have to go. I might have to switch with the Panthers on that one because they are a pretty damn good team.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that he might crumble under pressure, but he's never been there, so we have no idea.
Right.
He could be like, you know what, this is no problem. I love this. I've worked better under pressure, and just completely destroy.
Mhm.
Or he could crumble.
Right.
So it could go either way. But I think for that, I will go with the Panthers.
Okay. I have New Orleans versus Seattle, and then I have Green Bay at Carolina. I'm going to go with Carolina for that second game because I think Green Bay's defense, I think Carolina will be able, or I think Cam will do just fine against that defense. They don't stop the run very well, and that's what Cam does really well. So I think that when it comes to that, I think Rodgers will have a good game, but that's a really tough defense. I mean, I know you're playing San Francisco, but that time you're at your home in the elements. Now you're going to Carolina, you don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know if Rodgers can be able to beat Luke Kuechly in that defense. So I'm going to go Carolina. The other game, I've got New Orleans going into Seattle again. My thing here is that I know you are laughing, but I got to go with him, my Super Bowl pick.
You're my Super Bowl pick.
Seattle, his defense is outstanding. Their offense is very mediocre. Say what you will about
Mediocre.
it. I would say
don't know.
I would say it's average.
It is average.
Average. Okay,
Yes.
average. I'll go with average. Better term for it.
Nothing better, really.
Oh, they're not.
Russell stands out.
Russell Wilson is an average. He puts up average numbers.
Yes,
Not saying
he
he's a bad quarterback.
No,
he's not.
he's just
Not putting up
average.
4
Because
touchdowns
they don't have the
in game.
weapons for
Yeah,
him.
they
They
don't.
don't have the receivers. Harvin's been banged up. Rice is out.
Harvin is practicing though, so that could be a big addition for him.
For them if they can get him
Yes,
back.
if they can get him back. That would be huge.
Marshawn Lynch, we know what he does. He's beast mode. We know all that.
Skittles.
Breeze isn't going to let the defense beat him again. Not twice in the same season. I don't think so. I think that Breeze is going to go out there in the elements, in with the 12th man, and it is going to be a disappointing season for Seattle. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Breeze is going to play well, and he's going to turn it into a shootout. And Russell Wilson, I know he loves Drew Brees. He can't beat Drew Brees in a shootout. Not
Yeah,
with that team.
You want to go first?
Since you're pointing at me, I guess I will. But I want to say too, they could come back. Seattle, like even last year, I always come at this game because I think it was just outstanding how they did it against Atlanta. I can't remember how far they went in the playoffs. I think it was the second game, and against Atlanta, they were down like 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They came back the whole entire quarter. Actually, went up a few. Actually, was in the lead towards the end of the game. Lost it by a field goal, I think it was. But still, I feel like they can come back. Like if they down a lead, they can come back and actually score some points. And even like Buccaneers, highest score was like 21 points or something like that, or 3 or 4 touchdowns they came back by. You know, it's Buccaneers, but they still
Yeah,
able
they
to
finished
do
like
it.
17, 20 points, something like that.
Yeah, but they're still able to do it. And that's why I feel like even if they do struggle, they come back. But
No, and then I mean, I was laughing when Ryan was picking New Orleans, but I'm just saying that because he loves New Orleans. But I really do think they do have a chance because I really don't feel confident in Russell Wilson. I feel like when it comes down to playoffs, it is about the quarterback play, and I don't trust Russell. I would definitely trust Drew more. So if Drew's able to beat Philly at Philly, it will be a lot closer game. And I think, I mean, I'm still picking Seattle in that game, but I think
It's not going to be a blowout like the first
No,
game.
and I think Drew, that's really a toss-up game because I think Drew really will play well in that game.
So that's where we're at right now. You have Pete's got Seattle versus San Francisco. It'll be in Seattle. Third time, Serm showdown for them in the NFC Championship game. Dan, you will have Carolina traveling to Seattle. They played earlier in the year, which was a very close game. Was it 12-6, 12-7?
yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
Very close game in Carolina, though. Joey, you will have Carolina traveling to Seattle. Again, another rematch with the Dans. And I have Carolina versus New Orleans for a third time for a showdown. So that could be a really fun NFC Championship games all around, whoever we pick. Now we'll move to the AFC. Cincinnati and Indy, we all picked them. Cincy is 3 seeds, so they will face New England. In New England, Indy has to go to Peyton's house this time and face Peyton Manning in Denver. Very intriguing for that.
Yeah.
Can his old team knock him out of the playoffs? We'll start with you.
Do you want me to start with that game?
Yeah, go ahead.
Broncos. I got the Broncos winning that game.
Okay.
I feel like this is a statement game for Peyton because they already lost to Indy this year.
Oh, they knock him out of the playoffs. That'd be
So
hilarious.
yeah, and I
Really
think
cry.
no, I don't know. And when he goes on the road, Luck's got to play really well. And I don't know. I mean, Denver's defense isn't that good, but I feel like Denver. This will be a big time statement game, especially after last year when they lost their first game to Baltimore. That they're going to come out firing in that game. And then the New England-Cincinnati game, it's simple. It's Brady. It's New England. New England's going to win that game.
I agree. Dan? We'll start with you. Indy versus Denver.
I'll say Denver. We'll have Denver too because
Because they're
I mean, I said Peyton Manning does not do good in the playoffs, but if he's got good receivers. So if they can score like they always do, that their average spread is 26 points a game. So they score a lot. And if Indy cannot keep up with him, I don't know how well that defense will do against Peyton Manning and his receivers.
Right.
Even though, like I said, Broncos defense isn't good, their pass rush is 32nd in the NFL. They're horrible. But if they can keep putting up points, I don't know if Andrew Luck can keep up with that.
most points ever scored in the NFL in a season.
Yeah, 606 points.
Yeah. Peyton had the best year ever for a quarterback. So we'll see what happens with him against Indy. Joey, you got to finish yours. Who else you got?
Sorry, what was my other game?
You got Cincinnati at New England.
Yeah, New England. Tom Brady, because, like you said, Tom Brady, even if they're down, he'll come back. He always does. Always has those big comebacks.
You're going to go with Tom?
Yeah.
Tommy Terrific?
And
Tommy
going,
Terrific.
And LeGarrette Blount?
yeah, going back to this game, they did play earlier this year,
Yeah.
and Cincinnati did win, but it wasn't Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a whole different team when they're at home, and then when they're on the road.
And Tom
yeah,
Brady's a
definitely.
different
Yes.
player in the playoffs on
Yes.
home and on the road.
Yes, and especially if he's at home.
Yes.
So
So, Joey, now you'll start here. You have Indy at Denver as well.
I'm gonna go with the Broncos. It's because I want to see the Broncos and Patriots. Because,
You're going to go with Patriots as
Oh,
well, then. Oh, yeah.
but Patriots, I feel like are gonna win that.
Yes.
You know, see since
So,
you go,
that's
but
what I wanted.
against Patriots,
Yeah, again,
not
I
gonna happen.
I was the same thing with me. I'm going to go with Denver versus New England as well, just because this is the showdown everybody wants to see. Everybody
Oh, yeah.
wants to see Brady
Every one of the
in
best
Denver,
games.
right, against Tom in Denver now, and he gets a chance to play in the playoffs. Is Peyton going to get over the hump, or is he not? So now that'll be your next question. So your Super Bowl, Pete, you got Seattle versus San Francisco. Who's getting in?
if Kaepernick's able to beat the Packers at Lambeau, and then he's able to beat Carolina in Carolina, I think he shows who the better quarterback is, and I think San Francisco wins that game. And also, this was my pick earlier this year to win the Super Bowl, so I got to stick
Yeah,
with that.
stick with it. Now we'll go to you, Seattle versus Carolina.
I mean, like beginning of the year, but that was the first game that they played, first game of the season against Carolina.
In Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. And are they playing? Would they be playing at home?
They're playing in Seattle.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely pick Seattle because the crowd there is insane. You cannot hear anything. And the thing is, their defense is so good, and the Carolina receivers are okay, but I mean, they're nothing like outstanding. I mean, they have Steve Smith's probably about it. Brandon Felt's okay.
And he's banged up, too.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yes.
I mean, against Seattle defense, I think Kenny would have a hard time finding his receivers. And if the defense can keep up, then I think Russell Wilson and Marshall Lynch, Alden, I think they can score the points. So I think Seattle will go. That's my pick.
That's your pick. Seattle versus Carolina.
Seattle, Carolina. That's where I think Seattle will beat Carolina because, like, with that said, the crowds and they have the home field advantage.
Yeah, exactly. I have New Orleans and Carolina. I'm going to go with New Orleans then. I don't think Carolina can beat New Orleans. Not in the playoffs. I don't think they can. This is Drew Brees and Sean Payton's thing. This is what they do, so I don't think so. It's their thing. So now we all got Denver versus New England. Or New England at Denver now. The AFC showdown. We'll start. Pete, go ahead.
Brady.
That's all yes.
That's it. That's it.
Gotta go with Denver as my pick.
Hey, don't sound so mad about it.
Well, yeah, that's my pick. I mean, I guess I'll elaborate because he didn't. It's hard to say because, like you said, Peyton Manning had bad stats in the playoffs.
But this is it. He's got a totally different team now. He's got Wes Welker. He's got Decker. He's got
But
Thomas.
then Brady is
I don't
an
care who he
outstanding
is.
quarterback with a horrible pass rush defense.
Right.
And like, was it last time? Last time they played, it was like halftime, and it was like 24 to like nothing.
Then New England came back.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and think about that. Could that happen again? That's why I don't know. But I mean,
For the sake of it being your pick at the beginning of the year, you gotta go with Denver.
exactly.
No, and
I'm
then-
going to heart with it.
I mean, as well, I picked New England for the simple fact that people forget Von Miller's out.
Oh, yeah.
So he's
Oh, yeah.
their big pass rusher, and he's the one guy that can get to Brady, and I just don't see that defense touching really him.
Joey.
I'm going with the Patriots because I want them to shut down Denver hard. That's what I want to see because
Because you want to brag to Jose.
Jose
Jose person.
Jose, because like Denver's winning. No, I want the Patriots to stomp on them and just make them cry.
Oh, I want Seattle to stomp on them because they can easily do it.
Well, this is how I'm going to look at it. I'm going to go with New England winning as well, and I look at it as Peyton Manning. And like you said, you don't care who he has, Pete.
Yeah, because
It's Peyton Manning.
it's
He's had
all
the
about
guys in the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah.
He had Marvin Harrison. He had Reggie Wayne. He's had all these guys. Brandon Stokely's, the Dallas Clarks, Edrin James, and it didn't get it done. So
The one time that Brady did lose to Manning in the playoffs was an AFC Championship. Manning was at home. I mean, he was down by a lot,
side.
but he was inside. But he was at home. So maybe Manning's got a chance.
Maybe.
We don't know.
We don't know. He's going to do a miracle.
Depends how he does.
Mile high miracle.
If they get that far,
I mean, I look at it, I think it's going to come down to these two teams anyway in the AFC, and I think Tom, it doesn't matter. And I think people always talk about, well, what Tom has and what he doesn't have. When did Tom have anything when he won a Super Bowl?
He's
What?
never. I mean, he's
When
always
he had his receivers, he lost in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
I mean, he's never had a solid offense around him.
No.
He's always.
He's
run-
just Tom Brady.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with it'll be New Orleans versus New England. So we'll go right now, our Super Bowl picks. You got San Francisco versus New England. It's who you started with at the beginning of the year. Who you got?
Well, I mean, I started with Texans, but that was really
That was
stupid.
just a, you know.
That was stupid.
When we got off air, he fixed it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna go with New England. I don't know why I'm going with New
Tom's
England,
getting 4.
but I don't know why I'm going New England, but I am. It's because of Tom Brady. That's really it. Because everything
He
else,
rocks those men Ugg boots.
everything else says I should go San Francisco. Dan's looking at the paper where I circled San Francisco.
I'm
But-
confused.
but-
I do it too, so.
That's what I had at the beginning of the year. I had San Francisco being New England, but I just feel
Well,
like
you've seen a lot more now this year.
yeah, and I just feel like with the Super Bowl being in New York, I feel like this is time for Brady, and this is time for Brady to shut up all of his doubters.
Dan, you will have Seattle versus Denver.
And I'm still going with Seattle. And I'm glad I actually went Seattle because, I mean, now they're going through the year, you see how they both play. And since Peyton doesn't do well in the playoffs, especially at the Super Bowl, how well he would do. And since the defense is so good, will he be able to stop them? And since the pass rush is so bad for Broncos, well, they can't stop Russell Wilson. You know, even though they don't have, like you said, they have an average team, but the offense, I think, you get it done against the defense, especially against Von Miller. So they can even run too. They're Marshawn Lynch.
His Super Bowl pick would be really, really fun to see.
It would
The top offense in the
Who's the
NFL
top
versus the top defense, and what's going to happen in the cold,
weather.
in the snow that they're predicting.
We're really
for the Super
hoping
Bowl.
for snow. I mean, I don't know how they can predict that early,
It'd be so
but
fun.
that would be awesome
Yeah.
if there was snow.
I don't like how all the players cry about it either.
I mean, if you
don't you remember playing when you were a kid in the
yeah,
snow?
I
and
mean,
it was
how
so
many
fun?
how many
Now you're getting
NFL
paid
fans?
millions of dollars to do it.
Yeah, I mean, how many NFL fans love watching a game of snow? It's awesome.
That's true, right?
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Off by big
Maybe
points.
$15 million just throwing around the snow.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder.
My jersey's gonna get
God.
dirty.
No, but I agree. I think his game is going to be the funnest to watch.
Yes.
It would be awesome to see. But you got Seattle?
Yeah.
Joey, you have Seattle versus New England.
New England.
You're going with Tom.
Uh-huh. I'm a Tommy fan.
I understand. You Tommy boy. That's your guy. I have New Orleans versus New England. Drew Brees versus Tom Brady.
Awesome quarterbacks.
I'm going to go New Orleans. I picked him at the beginning of the year. I'm going to pick him now. I'm not going to flip-flop.
It's okay. You circled them. I'm like,
I did.
Wait. Are you trying to call me out by flip flopping?
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
I did.
I think
I
that's what you're just trying to do.
understand why you flip-flopped.
He called you.
Oh, so you are calling me a flip. So I did flip flop.
You flip-flopped,
I
obviously.
flip-flop before
Multiple
too.
times. Yeah, Houston, and then you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to go New England.
That was like 5 minutes.
And then you're, I know, and then you're like, San
It's not a
Francisco.
like month long flip flop.
That's fine.
Well, because
But I
it's
understand.
without Hugh, so.
But I'm gonna go with New Orleans. Drew Brees and Payton get their second ring together. I think I think all the Super Bowl matchups are really fun to watch. But we will see what happens. This can all get torn in one
I mean,
week.
we all know that none of these predictions are going to come true. So,
You don't think it's gonna be any of these?
I mean,
Out of all of ours, what do you think's the most likely?
I think the
Dan's?
most likely is probably Dan's.
I do too.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
Oh yeah. I mean, they're both two good teams. Peyton's got a lot on his
Yeah.
back to get off. Steve Young did it. Will Peyton Manning do it?
No, and then also Dan's picking teams that are going to be at home.
That's true too.
So, I mean, that's also
Right.
a big element as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a big to see what happens and where we go from there. But we will see. And we could all come back next week and it could all be changed.
Yeah, I mean, mine could easily be changed because what if San Francisco loses to Green Bay?
Right.
Jump.
Or if New Orleans loses.
Come on, San Francisco, you can finally lose to us. God!
I think you'd be okay with it.
I would be so happy if I was so wrong about that.
That's how we were yesterday. You know. Come on, Green Bay, you finally lose to us.
We will see, though, more stuff to come with the NFL, and coaches will be fired and hired and stuff like that. Do you think what job do you think Lovie Smith lands?
Well, I think early reports are the Tampa job. Makes the most sense.
So we're still
But-
looking for a coaching job?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
What's he gonna do?
Whoa. You want to Cleveland.
Who do you think, Cleveland? I think Tampa.
I think Tampa, but I think they should get an offensive guy.
I do, too, but I could see why they go after
Yeah.
Lovie. But I think they should get an offensive mind, too. I agree. But I wouldn't be angry with it. It's whatever.
Now, would you be angry if Lovey went to a team and took him to the Super Bowl that year?
Not if it's Tampa.
Well,
Yay! I think he should go to Detroit.
Lovey?
nah.
I can
Same
see
division.
that.
That'd be cool. Same division.
Play him twice a
that'd be
year.
kind of
Yeah.
a smack in the face.
That would be. I mean, if Lovey's smart, he tries to go for that job because, like we said, it's a very attractive job
Oh, yeah.
for him too.
He would win right away.
And he's familiar with all those teams.
I have actually some lands right now. It's what we were watching this morning, Pete. We're talking about Dan Quinn from
The Seahawks?
Yeah, the defensive coordinator from Seahawks. And who was the other person there? Tom? Offensive coordinator Adam Gase from Broncos. Also, they were talking about them too, interviewing them for the two jobs.
I think Jack Del Rio is a top candidate, too.
Yeah.
Defense coordinator there, too. And we got the Hawks already taking the lead. Brandon Saad scoring on the Kings. There we go. Those they've been fun to watch for Chicago.
Yeah.
They have been.
Well, I mean, out of all of Chicago, the Hawks are the only team that are good.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
Bulls are
I think it's fair to
disappointment.
say-
I mean, this is called Second City Sports Chat because we're supposed to talk about Chicago sports, but really, do we really want to talk about the rest of Chicago sports?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Except Blackhawks.
I mean,
Talk
let's
about
just start talking like when baseball starts. It's sad, but the baseball teams really aren't that good. But
Is there anything you're looking for the Cubs to do?
I mean,
Yeah, anyone
we'll
win.
see how the stadium looks.
What about Tanaka?
I want him.
You want him?
I think he'd be good for the Cubs. And where else are they going to spend their money?
That's true. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
I'll take.
yeah,
I mean,
it's a joke.
I mean, if they can give it to all of us, it'd be great. But
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that.
And they're working good.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of money.
It'd be great.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be here shortly. Unfortunately for us, Someone try to tell me Sox are gonna win the division this year.
There's always next year, though. Like, because it's the 30th now, so there's always next year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Let's talk about Chicago Fire.
Oh.
So,
Let's
Yeah.
just finish the podcast right there.
No, but yes, as Joe said, Happy New Year. We will see you next year. We'll see you in 2014. We'll see if what our picks are still standing or if they're already broken down. It could be like March Madness all over again, where it just crumbles in front of us. But we will. Oh, you want to go over? Oh, okay. Yeah, good call, Dan. We'll take a look. We'll tell you what our our picks at the beginning of the year were. Dan, go ahead.
Okay, well, Ryan, I will start with you because you're the first one on the list on the left. So I always go left to right.
I understand.
So
Who doesn't?
What an American.
You're a very good reader.
thank you. I tried right to left and the story did not make sense. I was already stuff that already happened prior. I don't understand. I knew it, and then they started talking about it afterwards. I'm like, okay, Ryan, you had the Pats. Then you want me to do division? I'll just read it. It makes
Just go
sense.
straight through?
Okay, yeah. So Pats, Bengals, Texans, Broncos.
I'm fine with that.
It's
I
not
just got
bad.
one wrong. Really wrong.
It's not bad.
Pete, you had Pats also, Bengals also, Texans also, and Broncos. Oh wait, sorry, you said like a space, so I did not see more. Sorry about that. Well, I guess it makes sense. Okay.
Just do the AFC first.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
let's-
okay, it's AFC. That's what you did it for. You did AFC.
Maybe this reading thing is hard for him.
Well, okay.
Again, not bad.
I'll
Yeah.
say wait. I'll do AFC then. I see why you did it because
Should I look at this or?
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah,
Pats,
got
Bengals,
it.
Texans, Broncos.
Again,
Okay.
not bad.
Then moi, I had also Pats, but then I had Ravens, but then besides Texas, I had Colts, and then Broncos also.
Again, not bad.
Yeah, so we actually all did pretty good.
Yeah.
We all had one wrong. And then so for you, for the NFC, you had Cowboys, Bears, Saints, San Fran.
I didn't get,
You didn't get any of those
single
right.
one right.
But
I was
he did get
close.
playoff teams out of that, though.
Yeah.
He got San
Yeah.
Francisco as a playoff.
And they all took second.
Well, maybe you thought the thing was all second. All
Shut
second
up, I was
place,
close.
and you had that then.
Go ahead.
He also had the boys, the Packers, Atlanta, and San Fran.
Okay.
You got one right.
Okay, why don't you just throw the Atlanta thing in my face? I get it. They
Yeah,
suck.
he picked it too.
Oh yeah, you know what? I picked Giants, so for NFC East. So I mean, don't hurt yourself too bad. And then I had Packers, Atlanta also. And the reason why I picked Atlanta was because last year they were the one team that went did not lose for the longest time. You know?
And they're usually such a good regular season.
Tony
Exactly,
Gonzalez
that was
coming
this year.
back one more
Yeah.
year.
And this year something happened, and then I had Seattle.
Yeah, not bad. Again, it was, we weren't right, but we weren't,
Well,
terrible.
the NFC sucks, so it's hard to pick.
Yeah,
Yeah, the NFC was messed up this year.
but not bad. See how it goes. Yeah, Joe didn't get
You want to pick?
No.
You can't pick the same ones though.
No, it's alright. No,
You want to, but that was good. Go through our picks. We'll see then next week how our predictions do for the playoffs. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Second City Sports Chat. Follow us on Twitter at Second City SC. Also, we'll congrat Tim for winning the Fantasy Football League.
Congrats.
Yeah, he beat me. Oh well, wasn't that bad.
No shocker there.
Oh, Pete also lost to Diana for third. So
Did you notice how Ryan's voice got higher when he said Pete lost?
Pete
Lost, but we're gonna end on a positive note. Me, Dan, and Ryan.
how you call Ryan? And
I know. I was like, "What's your guys' name?" No, we all won money for our fantasy league, so we are very happy about that.
That is true. That is true.
With really no running backs this week.
That's
pretty happy.
yeah, no Charles, no AP, no Ventate.
So
Alright.
Super Bowl didn't want to be nice to us, but we still won money, so that's the best thing.
That's
Yeah.
the best part about
You
it.
win more than you put in, that's the best thing you can get.
Yep.
Exactly. But until next year, we will see you then. For Joey, Dan, and Pete, I'm Ryan, and we will see you later.